Hi, welcome everybody. I'm super excited to be here with Feng, who's here on behalf of her co-author, Quan Xie, as well. And we'll be talking about her paper, which just came out in the first issue of JAR for 2025, and it's called Optimizing Branded Content for Beauty and Fashion Influencers from a Media Richness Perspective. How post-topic and visual type intertwine to boost consumer engagement. So I'm super excited to have you here today, Yang, to talk more about your article.
Thank you for this invitation. I'm so excited to talk about this article. So let me first introduce myself. I'm an advertising associate professor in artificial intelligence. Currently now I'm working for the University of Florida. And also my co-author is Dr. Quan Xie. She's assistant professor of advertising from Southern Methodist University.
And thanks so much for being on and for that background as well too. And so influencers have been a super hot topic in research the last couple of years. You've done some work on that as well too, but I'm really excited to learn more about what you find in this particular article. So could you give us kind of a brief overview of what it is you investigate, how you did that, and what it is you found as well too, for people who may not have had a chance to yet take a look at your article?
Yeah, sure. So we know every single Instagram post has two portions, the visual portion and the textual portion. So our goal here is to see what is the best formula, what's the best way to combine the visual part with the text part. So basically the visual part can have video and photo and album, but they reflect different levels of media richness. For example, photo is a very simple type of medium, but like video is more complex. So which we call it like rich media. It can help to convey a lot of information. Then for the textual part of the influencer post, they can reflect different types of topics. Some of them are easy to communicate. For example, demonstrate let's say what a product look on you, and some other topics like introducing a product can be really hard to convey because you have to really prepare well to talk about the product features and help your audience understand what the product is. So our idea here is, according to the media richness theory, we want to match, for example, rich medium with a complex topic. For example, we find out that it's the best way to use video for complex topic like introducing a product. We also find out that it's really good to use a simple medium like a photo, and for a simple topic, for example, like demonstrate how a product looks on you. So you can use photo to demonstrate that. So basically that's our findings. And also using the right combination can really help our audience understand your message really well. And they're more likely to click the like button and also comment on your photo, which can comment on your post, which can further enhance your visibility on this algorithmic environment.
Oh, it's interesting. Very cool. Yeah. Do you want to tell us a bit more about how you went through and tested that as well too, or explored that? Yeah.
Sorry, can you repeat your question? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So do you want to tell us a bit more about how you explored that or how you investigated that? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So the interesting part is that a few years ago, several scholars and we collaborated on a similar project. And so for that project, we focused on both organic posts and branded and sponsored posts of beauty influencers. So I realized that it's probably not enough just to focus on both of them. So it's really important to separate the organic post from the sponsored post because they reflect different nature of message. So that's why for this new project, we only focus on the sponsor posts, which we also call them branded posts inside our paper. So we basically target the top 1,000 beauty and fashion influencers in the United States, and we want to retrieve all their sponsor posts in the past 10, 15 years. So we want to study their visual message and also the textual message and try to explore what's the best combination of the visual portion and the text portion of their branded posts. That's the goal there.
All right. So a very comprehensive look, looking at, thousands of different posts over a very long period. Yeah.
Yeah, so actually we retrieved over 10,000 branded posts from those top beauty and fashion influencers over the past 10 years. Yeah, so actually we got a lot of data, and from the big data, we trying to do this data mining and find out the best combination of the visual part and the textual part.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm guessing the big implication for advertisers then is to make sure that they use a richer form of media when they want to go through and have a more complex piece of communication they want to get across. Is that I'm guessing that's the key finding?
Yes, so I think our findings can be very useful for both brands and also influencers. So especially for influencers, they know what's the formula for them to draft a more effective branded message because they understand it's really important to help to get more likes for your post because that's what the algorithm really are looking for. So using our formula, they can really help to enhance the likes of their posts by using the right formula. And also for brands, if they collaborate with influencers, they can use the formula that we discover to craft the most effective branded posts.
Very cool. Yeah, no, it's definitely important for the algorithm. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm curious now because it definitely makes sense to me, like what would happen if you take a really complex idea and try to do it using a very simple form of media, like just an image versus a video. What happens if the reverse happens? If you're taking a simple idea and you're communicating it through a richer form of media, is that also a negative effect, or is it just sort of the same effect?
Yeah, so like if you have a very simple idea, let's say just demonstrate how the product look on you. For example, like for beauty fashion influencers, if you're gonna try on the clothing and you want to show what the clothing look on you, right? And if they use a video, probably we say that's a little bit waste of your resources and time because it takes much more effort and time to prepare
Yeah,
a video than just shoot a photo, right? And also the results showing that using a rich media like video for demonstrating a product look does not do better than using a simple medium like a photo. So of course,
which yeah.
from efficiency perspective, definitely it's better to use photo for a simple task. And you don't have to use a rich media like video because that does not help. And also it takes much more time and
Interesting.
effort.
Yeah, that's really important to think about as well. It's a very good angle. Yeah. So it's almost like they're over engineering posts if they're putting too much effort into something that doesn't have to be that complex. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And also on the other hand, we realize that a lot of beauty and fashion influencers, they try to save their time. So they use a lot of photos for different topics. And so for example, even for complex topics like introducing a product and which involves a lot of cues to help your audience understand the detailed product features, they still use photo. So sometimes audience may find it so hard to understand. But influencer, because they feel it saves a lot of time, so they use that way. But that's not what our formula is saying about.
That's interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah. Any other sort of key findings or takeaways that you think are important for advertisers based on your study?
Yeah, I think our another key finding is related to our methodology because we use machine learning way to
Mhm.
analyze our data because nowadays you have a lot of data on social media that are very useful, but it's not very possible to just go through them manually. So we use a
Yeah.
topic modeling algorithm called latent directional allocation. So that help us to basically go through all the data and discover the key topics among the data. So I think brands, they can consider using more advanced machine learning algorithms to go through the available data on social media to look for the patterns there, so which can be very useful for their future projects.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. And just briefly out of curiosity, like what exactly is that model for somebody who's like less familiar with it? Like, is there a simple
Yeah.
explanation or simple way of describing what that does? Or
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. So I personally really love topic modeling, this algorithm, because it's an unsupervised machine learning algorithm, which means that you don't have to train it. It's available to use. You don't have to give any examples to the machine learning for machine to learn because it's already trained. It's unsupervised. It does not need any additional training. So you can just directly apply the algorithm to your textual data and the algorithm will just go through your large volume of textual data and look for patterns and discover the topics hidden there. So it's very handy. And like I said, that it doesn't need any external training. So it's really efficient. So I think it will be quite useful for brands to look for any patterns and hidden topics in their data.
Very cool. Awesome. Yeah. I'm curious as well too, where did the idea come from for this article? Like, did you just have a sense while looking through Instagram or TikTok, or
Yeah.
was it some other place you got this idea?
Yeah, like personally, I'm a heavy social media user.
Okay,
I
yeah.
use Instagram a lot. And when I browse Instagram, I also look for any beauty fashion information for guidance or, just for personal interest. And I realized, personally, I realized that a lot of the beauty fashion influencers, they tend to use photos a lot for their posts, regardless of the topics. So that's why out of
Oh, yeah.
curiosity, I'm wondering, is this the kind of the best way to do, even though it's universal? So that kind of motivate me to explore this topic. And also, like I mentioned earlier, like a few years ago, we did a project that focused on both the organic and sponsored posts from beauty and fashion influencers. But this time, we only want to focus on the sponsored post and see what is the best combination there.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, no, it's very cool. I think it's great that you get ideas from like seeing stuff and just what's happening in the world as well too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as advertising researchers, for me, it's really important to translate some of my personal experience and personal observation or experiences into my research idea because you have the firsthand feeling and experiences there.
Yeah. No, definitely. Same here. Yeah. And sort of wonder like what's happening or why is this working this way or things like that. So
Yeah, me
um
too.
I'm also curious. I always like asking about this. Any challenges you might have run into when going through and doing the study as well too. I always say that, as a younger, academic, I always was, looking at these polished papers and thinking that it was so easy for other people. So I'm always
Yeah.
think it's kind of neat to take a look at any, issues or challenges that you might have been facing when going through and doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. That's a great question. I think there are two major challenges that I will say. The first one is related to the theoretical part, because a lot of times when you are doing this data mining or big data analysis, a lot of times reviewers may criticize there is lack of theoretical support of doing that mining because it's totally data driven, right? So I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like science and art that you have to balance theory and data-driven approach. So when you are doing this kind of data-driven, using this data-driven approach, and when you interpret the findings, you definitely want to contextualize your interpretation using previous theories. Or any other relevant framework. You don't just totally want to rely on mathematics or data to get your findings. You want to embed your findings within current advertising research framework. So that's important. So it's sometimes it's hard to balance either both ones. So you have to explore and try. That's I would say the one of the biggest challenge. The second challenge is I think for the technical part is because we want to get all the posts from all the top 1,000 beauty and fashion influencers. So sometimes they, like people, they just delete, remove their posts. So
Right.
you
Yeah.
actually, you cannot get those posts anymore, but you still want to make your data representative. So there's always struggling there behind the scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, very true. That's a good point, especially if it's so old as well too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it difficult scraping all of the different posts down as well too? Like I know it's been getting tougher and tougher to be able to like access articles, access posts and download them.
Yeah, I think so. Actually, we got the data actually 2 years ago. Um, so for this article, so I and we use Meta's official scraper called CrowdTangle. So it's official basically scraper from Meta, and we are allowed to get public posts because those beauty and fashion influencer, their posts, of course, they want more people
Yeah.
to read it, so it's public, right? So we are not allowed to download people's comments on those posts because the comments are probably not
Uh,
public. So I think now, maybe 2 years later now, maybe it will be more challenging to, get data from social media because of privacy concerns there. Yeah, so I will see that's one of the challenges in the future.
yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, I'm glad you got the data though and were able to run the analysis while it was available. Yeah. I'm curious where to next, right? What do you think are some, interesting extensions or areas to look at after to extend the study?
Yeah, that's another very great question. I think now with the rise of generative AI, a lot of influencers may consider using generative AI to either edit or create their posts from scratch. We don't know which way they're going to use, but we know Meta has the latest labeling policy is that Meta will automatically label any content they suspect AI has been involved as AI generated post or made with AI post. So I think that adds another layer of complexity into the landscape. So
Mm.
we're wondering, for example, for AI generated influencer sponsored post, how's the formula going to be? Will this same formula still stay with the AI generated content? That's a question we don't know, because once people see the label there, that adds another, additional interpretation in addition to the sponsored post, right? As sponsored disclosure. So people may have more skepticism or more resistance to what those sponsored posts. So we don't know, what's their reaction going to be. So I think that probably worth to explore in the future.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, seeing is how the people react to those disclosures. I also wonder too, because I think it's getting so easy now to potentially take a photo and turn it into a video as well, right? So those kind of
Yeah.
tools are starting to exist as well. So it might be the case that that kind of upends things a bit as well.
Yeah, and also since our article focused on the top 1,000 beauty and fashion influencers, and we realized that for our findings, all the findings come from either mega or meso influencers. We did
Uh,
not include micro influencers. So I think micro influencers, maybe because of their lack of resources and time, they probably are more motivated to use generative AI as a tool to help them create content in the future, either maybe use it as an editing tool or a creation tool, right? So I think it's worth to explore what's going to be the formula for micro influencers who are going to use AI in their sponsor posts.
yeah, no, that's a really good point. That makes sense, right? Because especially they are probably more resource constrained, and probably, it might also be a kind of a feature to almost play with these new tools as well too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, true, right? So like, yeah, so they have a good reason to use AI for their projects.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing more information on your article. So again, for those who are interested, hopefully I'm guessing everybody who's listening to this, you can take a look at it in the March issue of the Journal of Advertising and Research from 2025. And again, it's called Optimizing Branded Content for Beauty and Fashion Influencers from a Media Richness Perspective, how post topic and visual type intertwine to boost consumer engagement. So thank you so much for being on, Yang. I really appreciate you sharing your insights.
Thank you so much for your invitation, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about this very interesting piece of work that I collaborate with Dr. Quan Xie.
Awesome. Yeah, I look forward to seeing more work coming from you as well. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks.